I need that magic.
Updates. Oh yeah, baby, see how it's a go. Sangalo is a go. Shana Wale is a go. Escobar is a go. Toros is a go. Naira Marley is a go. Is a go. Zaina Bin is a go. 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 Oh no, is a go. Is a go. This is a go. 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 This is a go. Malosun, this is a go.
As you know, I'm Samuel Fatoku, and today on The Viewpoint, what we're talking about is insecurity and community health and development. That's what we're talking about on the show. All right, I'm going to try fix that right here from our hand, and of course talking about our guest on the show today, Professor Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ. I'm going to be reading quite a number of things about him on the show today. Yes, he is a distinguished educator and researcher in the Department of Sociology at Lagos State University, specializing in sociology, criminology, and cybercrime. He carried his BSc from Lagos State University and both his MSc and PhD from the University of Ibadan, focusing his doctoral research on the cybercrime subculture in Lagos. Of course, he has quite a number of feathers to his cap. He's a criminologist, a security consultant. Professor Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, it's so nice to have you with us today. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I hope we're going to have a great time together.
Yes, definitely. We are going to have a very insightful time together on The Viewpoint today. Talking about the topic we are going to be treating today, that's insecurity and community health and development. Insecurity and community health and development. That's what we are dealing with right here on the show today. Now, before we go deep into the topic, Professor, can you kindly define what we mean by insecurity, and let's look at it in the context of community health and development, just like a conceptual analysis for this. Can we just quickly look at that? What is insecurity in the context of community health and development, and especially in a place like Nigeria?
Am I still here?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. I thought you were still trying to make a point. I guess you're done with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Thank you. Now, looking at insecurity in the Nigerian context, how do we address the current situation that we have? What can we say is the state of security or insecurity in the Nigerian setting today?
The state of security. I prefer to use security.
All right.
I'm going to say that we're having improved security system. Now, when compared to the last government, it is improving. But when compared to what we had before democracy, of course, we cannot call it improved. But compared to our experience in the last 5 years, it is improving. At least I see here a blend of reactive and proactive measures. And in the past, we have had only reactive measures.
All right. Yes, talking about what you said, that in comparison with what we've had before, I want us to look at one or two things going on right now, and looking at what the people think, what the news is saying, and looking at the state of insecurity in the country, different cases we have in different states, in Kwara, in so many other northern states and places in Nigeria. Can we still say that it's improving if we put all of this together with what we have in our hands, the kind of data, the kind of news we are hearing? Can we still say that it's getting better? I mean, I think maybe in the yesteryears, I don't think there has been a case where there has been negotiation with bandits, with offenders. But now we have situations like that on our hands. Can we still say the same thing, Professor?
Okay, where do I begin from? Okay, you see, if you check the situation in northern Nigeria, you will discover that every of their security issue has history.
Okay.
And the history, within the context of the history, you will see that the issues are emanating from their allegiance to those people at some point in the past. Either we are talking about, we're talking about the Lukarawa here, and then if we are talking about Boko Haram, for example, we also know that there is something connecting all of them together. And if we are looking at the Miyetti Allah, for example, there are something bringing all of these people together. Now, in some part of Nigeria, we have issues of kidnapping and all. Then basically, you also see that, I would say that I blame democracy for a lot of things. So I'm going to put a little bit of democracy there, because people will be holding that because of the fact that at some point in the future, they are going to be asking the people for support during the election. And then the negotiation part. There was a time we had something very close to negotiation with what are these people? That uprising at that time. There was something like I'm looking for the right word that they used at that time.
Okay.
Amnesty. And it was not just a program, it was more like a kind of financial empowerment. So where they were brought back, trained, and given certain amount of money to start up a business. Well, for me, I think that was a higher level of negotiation than what is happening now. And there was also a time when there was amnesty for Boko Haram too. So I feel that in the past they have employed a palliative solution to issues of insecurity or security. Presently, we have not had stories of, people are not being very honest, but this is the point that I'm making. Another part of the world, there are issues that they can't. There are issues that they fail to show in the social media. But in this part of the world, we want to put everything on the social media. We want the world to hear everything about Nigeria. And in the end, all of these things are counted against us. And then are used against us when the security index is being measured. And then it becomes a country where we feel people are no longer safe.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Well, just not to digress from what we're talking about today, can we quickly look into how insecurity, whether due to conflict, crime, or instability, directly or indirectly affects community health outcomes? Can we quickly look into that, Professor? How does insecurity, whether due to conflict, crime, or instability, directly or indirectly affect community health outcomes?
Well, when you have violence, when you have mobility restrictions, when you have issues with resource availability, then of course you are creating a condition where people will begin to have mental, physical, and other health issues. Because when you have all of this, people have what we call anxiety or depression. And all of these things, especially for those who now have direct experience of all of these things, they now have what we call the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, where in every situation, in a situation where people's health are tampered with. People's it's psychological, it's physical, and of course it will have effect on a lot of things. There was a time I was in a degree, I did not inform them because of course I was not informed them. So I posted a picture of myself at the UN office, and people got the option of 괶ᴍᴍᴇ, so I picked 괶ᴍᴍᴇ. My father-in-law called my wife and said, "What is your husband looking for? Is it money that made him to go all the way to 괶ᴍᴍᴇ? But that's not the kind of money we want." So basically, when you find a situation like that, even at that time, nothing happened. I was there for a whole week. No danger, no incidents. Yes, people I left back in Lagos were scared more than I was in Maiduguri. Now imagine those who are now living in Maiduguri and have relatives outside of Maiduguri or outside of the northeastern part of Nigeria.
Okay.
The thought of violence can create problem. The presence of violence can create problem. Even violence has after effect on people who have experienced them. So basically, all of these are the things that we're talking about here.
All right. Now, before we just move away from that particular, thought you've raised, you talked about the fact that there are times when there are some things that shouldn't be on the social media, and then you talked about visiting some places where people have been made to believe that, okay, these areas are not safe, and you are there for a while, nothing happened. Are we trying to address the case of misinformation? There is the freedom of information. There is, a situation where people can post things online. There is the news, the media that circulates all true. Are you saying there's a need for the government to look into these channels to regulate them, or what exactly are your thoughts? Because I want us to get it clear. It's looking as if when we are looking at insecurity, you're saying that it's possible that there are some parts where there might be misinformation from the media, or probably even from people that are covering that bit. Or let's get it right. Let's get that right before we move on from that, please.
Okay, I want everybody to get it right.
Okay.
Sometimes around 2022,
okay,
I was in UAE, and then I stayed in one hotel at I forgot the name of this place, like the market area, maybe Decca or something. I forgot the name. So while we were there at the hotel, something happened. Something violent happened. But nobody told us. We did not have information, maybe because of the language barrier. But in Nigeria, we would have seen the information on Google News. I checked Google News, nothing. I checked everywhere, nothing, and then nobody told us anything. We paid a visit to some friends living in another part of the Emirates.
Okay.
And while we were there, they told us that there was an event of robbery involving some Nigerians that carted away bullion van and all, and that they were all apprehended and certainly they were killed. There was no news from anywhere in the world. Google News, TV, nobody talked about it. or here in Nigeria, any small news is on the social media. So I am not saying that people do not have freedom of expression.
Okay.
But when you give information about an event, the presentation matters. It could be a small event. By the time you present it, it might become a magnified event that begins to put fear in the minds of people. I went to Anambra in July, and before I went there, people were telling me kidnapping and all. They said a lot of things. And when I landed at the airport, while I was waiting for my guests to come and pick me, I saw a set of jeeps. They parked at the front of the airport. There were gunmen, some of them masked, some of them wearing all of these things, and then they were killed everywhere. No, I could have picked my phone, taken a picture of that event, and give a wrong information about what we had over there. Nobody was disturbed. They just came to pick their things and their people, and they left. And when my people came, I also entered their car and left. And on the way back to the city of Anambra, the capital, I didn't see anything. There was no violence anywhere. But I could have given a wrong impression. I could have said that these are non-government. They were not dressed like police. They were not dressed like army. They were not dressed like civil defense or military outfits. They were just dressed like gunmen, private gunmen. And I could have given wrong information. So most times we have found ourselves in a country where we cannot trust every information that we see online because they may not represent the reality. And reality is ambiguous. How you see things may be different from how I see things. A person who had lived in Nigeria, who had witnessed a lot of violence, might have become something else at that time that I saw many people with guns and different cars. I came from Lagos. We didn't have something like that. There was a time in Lagos when they told us not to buy tomato from Hausas anymore, that they had poisoned all of them and we were all going to die. You see a lot of things everywhere, and all of those things don't represent the reality. They don't. So we need to bring in, when we're sending that information, we should be truthful to ourselves. We should ask for information. We should get the facts right before sending the information to the public, so that we do not mislead some people or cause psychological and mental pains on some other people.
Okay. Thank you for that. We are going to be going on a short break in a few seconds, but before we go for that break, I can see the part where you're trying to show us the cons, the disadvantages of sharing some certain stories, but still looking at the aspect of the psychological impact. There are people who have been affected by the cases of insecurity we had in Nigeria, probably some bombings. Of course, from your perspective, it's possible that this is not recurrent and this is not something that happens every day or every other day, But for those that are affected at that moment, I believe that they will be psychologically affected. That's number one. Number two, they probably won't be able to take their pictures off their mind for the rest of their lives. And just like anything can happen, that happened to them when they least expected. I feel that it's possible that they want to definitely warn others of such situations that, we didn't expect this coming. You guys should also watch out, or, because you don't know what to expect. And I think that's possible that that's the case. My question from there, I'm going to drop it after this break. Yes, we are going to go on a very short break, listeners, but you can drop your thoughts on our WhatsApp line. That's via 091-5849-4949. And of course, after the break, we open the phone lines for calls. It's still The Viewpoint on Wash 94.9 FM. We'll be right back. course, the program on your dial right about now is The Viewpoint. Our guest on the show, Professor Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ Health949. You're welcome back from that break. Hello, Professor. Are you still with us? All right. It seems as if the network played a tricky one on us. We'll still try to reconnect. And after that, the program will continue shortly. Stay tuned. You're welcome back from that break. So nice to have you back.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes. So going back to the question we're talking about the other time, I was saying that looking at the cases you made, you were saying that there was a time you even uploaded a picture all the way from Sambisa and all of that. Are you saying that we should limit the content that we put out there? Let us recall that it's possible that there are some situations that were dealt with based on the fact that a citizen jumped in or recorded. For example, there was the case of a tricycle rider that was beaten by one of the NURTW members, and it was recorded on the phone and posted on social media, and then the police took up the case, and so many other cases like that. And when we look at all of the positive parts, are you still saying that we should discourage most of all of these things, or what are your thoughts?
No, I didn't say we should discourage recordings. I just said that when we are recording, when we are doing all of that, we should get our facts right and be sure that we are sending out the correct information. Some of these informations may not represent the reality. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. And then I also understand that some people will have experience of violence, and the experience will have effect on their self. It's expected. And when they find themselves in a situation, even when it's not like what had happened to them, but the moment they see at least one sign that was going to bring back the memory again, they are going to jump up.
All right.
It is also expected because they had that experience. But for many other people, we didn't. We just read news, and most of us would rather read news on the social media than to read news from printed magazines. The ones that we all know. I am one of them, or I used to be one of them. I'll read news on the social media. But then, for every information that I see, if I do not see the very popular newspapers, I will not take them seriously.
Okay.
If the information is coming from the social media source that is not known, that is not verifiable, I will ignore it.
Okay.
But when I see Punch, when I see Vanguard, then I'll take them seriously.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I want us to quickly touch on these questions because we don't have much time again. Looking at the vulnerable groups like women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities, how are they affected in all of this that we are talking about? The challenges of insecurity and its impact on community health and development. How are they affected? Can we quickly look at that before we get into what happens to international aid or NGO-led health initiatives? Let's quickly look at the vulnerable groups and how they are affected, please.
In every situation of insecurities, regardless of the country, these are the vulnerable people. Women, children, elderly, and then people with disability. In Yoruba land, we have this very popular adage that says, I've forgotten, but something like Ogun Kokin Paro. Now, but then it's always like there was a pre-warning, like something like to be forewarned, to be foreharmed. But in cases of violence, insecurity, sometimes it is not planned. It's not something that people are expecting. So as a result of that, they find themselves being the ones that will suffer the most out of the entire population.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, that is the case. Well, in Nigeria, we have what we call security index. There was a time I wanted to work with the BBC UK, and we were going to go to some places. I got a map from them telling me where to go to in my country and where not to go. And then I saw some places shaded red, very dangerous zone, and then some places shaded orange, not as dangerous as those places shaded red. Now, if we have all of this information, it then becomes the burden of the government to find a way to move out all the members of these vulnerable groups from that area so that they can reduce their vulnerability. At least if they are no longer there, then they are safer wherever they find themselves. When I was in Maiduguri, I had the opportunity to visit 10 IDP camps, and I saw a lot of children, I saw a lot of women, I saw a lot of people with disability, and I saw a lot of older people too. Now, for the fact that they were in those places does not even mean that they are safe anyway, because it's still not eastern part of Nigeria. But they could have done more. And this is why we say that if the governments are proactive, they will save more lives than when they are reactive.
All right.
Proactivity here means that they are acting, or they have information about what will happen. They have collected information about what will happen. Reactive here means that they are only acting when it has already happened. There would have been damages.
Okay.
And people do not know that in the definition of security, collection of intelligence also represents security.
Okay.
You need information. Yeah.
Okay. Now, quickly, let's just look at this. Can development still happen in insecure areas? Or is peace a prerequisite? Can development still happen in insecure areas? Then, going back to the question I was about asking the other time, what happens to international aid or NGO-led health initiatives when a region becomes insecure? Let's quickly look at that. Development and then all the health initiatives in that region, what happens to them?
Now, when we say development in insecure areas, I feel that the only development that should be experienced in that part of the world is removing the insecurity, ensuring that the lives are safe first. That's a development to me, because whatever it is that you are putting together, one bomb will scatter them all. So you have to protect the lives of the people first, and to an extent, the lives of the properties. But the people first, property next. Is when you have protected them and you are able to neutralize the threat, that you can then come up with development. Now, how can we do a facelift to this community and all? Now, regarding the international organizations, well, one thing about international organizations is that each time we have issues, they always come around. World Food Organization is a part of the UN. And World Health Organization, Red Cross, all of them will come around to give the right support. Countries will also come to give the right support, to give them money and all. Now, they have always come. But we also know that they have also experienced some dangers. So sometimes getting the people to represent them in those communities become an issue. When you know that you are with the US Army and they want peacekeeping in Gaza, and you are likely to be selected, you have to feign a sickness, because there is no 100% guarantee that you are going to come back alive. And if the same thing happens, we always talk about the soldiers giving up their lives. We always talk about the soldiers being gallant. We also need to remember that they are humans. They have families, they have wives, they have children. and there is no guarantee that when they are gone, the families are going to get all that he had been doing while he was alive. So basically, the NGOs also face the same issues. So they will come, because for most of them, the work comes first. Humanity comes first. But for those who work with them, you cannot say the same for workers. Maybe some people are just working for the money, some volunteers are doing that for several other purposes, but they are not likely to get enough manpower for all of these things. At the end, you don't give them the best in places where they have issues like this.
Okay, so talking about development in those areas, it's still possible to have some development.
I have told you, the only development that I feel should happen in those areas is protection of lives first, and then property next.
Okay.
The fact that we are able to protect the lives, we are already paving the way for there to be development when the insecurity is out of the way.
All right. Now, talking about the residents of those places, what do you think the role of local leaders and grassroots organizations can be amidst all of the insecurity? Then people who reside in that community, how can they build resilience in the face of ongoing insecurity? Because sometimes, I mean, like we all know, the response of the government might actually be reactive, as you said earlier, and not be proactive. And how do you think community leaders, local leaders, grassroots organizations, and members of the community can work together to at least have some level of resilience, all in the face of this insecurity?
Thank you very much for that question. It's all about collaboration. You see, most times in places where we have these issues, the governments are reacting because of the absence of intelligence. Now, when you are in a place where you don't have access to information, how do you thrive? So it is normal in a situation where the people are now willingly giving them the information that they need to work better. That's a rule. When I thought that Sambisa Forest was a forest. I did not know that Sambisa Forest was a very big community that is a very big land mass that has borders to Cameroon, borders to Niger, borders to Chad. And this is a community where people are living indigenous. It's only referred to as a forest because there is bad road network, it's like a jungle, and then not like the normal community that we are all used to. So people live there. All these people have their families there. All these people have their relatives there. And that is why it's not easy to wipe out the entire Sambisa Forest, all because we want to wipe out Boko Haram. So, which means that these people living in Sambisa Forest have access to information about these people that we are talking about. If they willingly give this information to the security agencies in Nigeria and international security agencies that are cooperating with them, neutralizing insecurity will be a lot more easier than what we have now. Then Nigeria will no longer need to employ reactive measures. It will now be proactive measures because they have information about the place they are going, how they are to move, where they are to move to, and the other things that they need to do.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, looking at this particular question, talking about policy changes and innovation, what kind of policies do you think we need to work on to be able to protect health services in conflict-prone, to make health services conflict-prone, and to promote health services in insecure regions? What kind of policy changes and innovations do you think can be employed? I want you to kindly look at that, and because of our time, I would like to add this particular question. Do you have any situation where you can share with us? Is there any situation you can share with us where communities thrived despite insecurities. Do we have any situation like that, or can you paste a scenario of something that looks like this, please?
Okay. Now we hear that. Let me take the second question before I take the first question.
All right.
We hear that there is war in Ukraine. But we also know that the football league is going on in the same Ukraine. So I don't know.
All right.
Some people are playing football there, and Russia is still playing football, and Russia may be coming to the World Cup. So I don't know. But well, okay. For the first question, where we're talking about private health program where we have insecurity. I know that when people are posted to places like Maiduguri, Moyobe, from Lagos or anywhere else, they are already scared. Their families are also scared, and they will begin to run imaginations in their heads. So what I feel the government can do in a situation like that is to have homegrown practitioners trained as supporting staff or supporting medical or paramedics in those areas. So which means that they will only need few professionals from outside. These people are their people. By the time those people come, if they are not using bomb, they come with gun, for example. They will speak Kanuri, they will respond in Kanuri, and then people that are Kanuri will be saved first. But if you cannot understand Kanuri and you speak Hausa, you may be saved next. But you cannot speak any of them, you may never be saved at all. So generally, if you now have people coming from the down part of Nigeria going all the way to the top to give such support, we only take very few of them. Then we use the homegrown people, trained, given the right training, given the right exposure, so that they can support in ensuring that there is health in areas like that. I feel is the best that can work because they know how to survive in their communities. If you bring people from other parts of Nigeria that is safe, and you take them to that place, you are only endangering their lives. So even in that kind of condition, they're not likely to give their best. Because every day will look like might be my last day here.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And to our listeners, we can entertain just one call just before we end the show. 070-41007949. And if you can quickly send a message to a WhatsApp line, 09158494949. If you can get a call or not. But before we end the show today, in your opinion, Professor, what do you think is the single most important thing communities need to do right now to combat the effects of insecurity on health and development? The single most important thing they need to do. And then you can also just alongside that give us your closing remarks.
For me, I think that the people of the community should support insecurity. Community policing is the practice everywhere, and community policing has aided policing in some parts of Nigeria.
All right.
Community supports in security.
Professor, just before you continue, let's see if you can quickly pick this call. You're welcome. What's your name and where are you calling us from, please?
Hello, good evening, Mr. Sami.
Oh, good evening, Jabe. Let's have your thoughts, your question, quickly, please.
Yes, my brother, I want to quickly say this.
All right.
Nigerian police, I thought, Nigerian army, I thought they deal with intelligence. When they say people are here, people are living in Sambisa forest, can't they be able to be able to know where these criminals are living and where the normal people are living? Just like what they did in the East. When they took land out, arrested him and brought him to their place. Can they do the same in the north? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cheba, the preacher man. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Quickly, Professor, can you just react to that? We don't have much time, please.
Actually, there are two different terrains.
All right.
In insecurity, sometimes terrorists can use what we call the human shield. So being among the people is like a shield, knowing that if any government should decide to wipe out the entire Sambisa forest, should anybody want to try that, the government will face charges in the royal courts after the event. So basically, they are just using them as the human shield. And this time around, they have a lot of people shielding them from the wrath of the government.
All right. All right.